Hello again from Print Island. My name is Richard Askam. I am, as you know, the lighthouse keeper here on Print Island, and in a very privileged position to invite anybody that wanders past into my studio to come and have a chat. And today, we've got a bit of a legend. I use that word, with all due respect to the word legend, but very few people, if you look in the dictionary under the word legend, you'd see the words Larry Vaughn. Good afternoon, Larry.
I don't know about that, but thank you very much. I appreciate it.
Well, it's lovely to have you on, and I know this has been a painstaking journey for both of us to get to this point because you've wandered past the island a few times, and I was on the other side, and then you flew over, and I was underneath, and we just missed each other in the storms that are raging in our world. But today, even though I know you've got a few issues with the sound at your end, which I'm hoping we can deal with, but today is lovely to have you here on Print Island.
Well, thank you very much, and I appreciate it. I said, I'm not going to lose this. We're going to stay connected just as long as we possibly can until we figure something out, because of all the issues that I've had on my end and you've had on your life.
Life. Yeah, exactly. But today, and if you're hearing me twice, that's great. I'll charge you twice. I'm kidding, of course, obviously. But it is genuinely lovely to have you on, Larry. You are, I think it's fair to say, a legend in the industry. But for anybody out there that has never heard the words Larry and Vaughn in the same sentence, give us your elevator pitch of who you are, what you've done, where you've been, all of that kind of stuff. And there you go. You got 30 minutes. Away you go.
Oh my God. Well, I tell you, sometimes I don't even know where to start. I always say, I'm just a simple guy from West Texas, and all my family was farmers. Every single one of them. There's two of them left in the family that are still farming, but just good people. They really are, And I grew up dyslexic, where I couldn't spell, I couldn't do anything, But the only thing that I had that went for me was gift of gab, talk. So I thought, well, I don't know what in the world I'm going to be. And I got out of high school, and I said, what in the world am I going to do? So I finally figured out I'd just be in sales, and that's when I got into print sales. And I loved print, and met a lot of good people in the print industry. I mean, it was just a whole lot of fun. Um, and I think, Rich, that I was in the time of life that there was such a change going on in print. I mean, it was just coming at us every other angle, of the change that was taking place. And I'll never forget, golly, and I had a AB Dick 360, I think that's what it was, a little old single color, boy, and then I got a T head, and I had a two color, and oh my goodness, so I mean, I'm getting up in the world. And then I got a little bit larger AB Dick, I don't remember the name of it, but it was a double side, and then I got a little Heidelberg GTO, and I'm sure you know what that is. It's just a short size press. And boy, I was running four color work, 1117. I thought, oh my God, I'm a printer now. And then I got a half size press, and then I got a full size press. I got an 8 color 40-inch projector. And I thought, my goodness, I mean, that thing, you couldn't feed enough work. I mean, it would just crank that work out. And I had I had two half-size presses. I had to get rid of both those because that one press was it just printed everything, being a corrector like it was, And then digital came out, Indigo. And I thought, oh my God, it's pretty neat, Well, to back up, I got a Xerox color copier, basically, is what it was, and then I had a black and white. But golly, and that Indigo came out, and oh my goodness, what all I can do, and you just take it and you take this go straight from press. I thought it was so neat when, when the I didn't have to make film anymore. It went straight to tape. I thought, golly, Vaughn just kept coming, and then I had the digital press. I'm a zero when it comes to technology, and this was new. Computers were basically new around that time. And so we had a guy that worked for me, and this going to be my story. And his name was Landon Dyer, and he was delivering uniforms to my shop for the employees, freshmen, and everything. And he saw that we were trying to figure out a computer. We got our first computer, and he was sitting there, and boy, we were trying to get it all figured out. And he said, "What do you got?" I said, "Well, Landon, we got a new computer, and we're just trying to figure it out." And he says, "Well, I might be able to do something here. What you got?" So we told him. My God, he sat down there and he was hitting them keys just left and right, and the screen was scrolling like that, with a bunch of gibberish all the way across, and everything. And I thought, "You're hired." I hired him right there on the spot. And I just go and don't even give him notice. But anyway, he came in there and he helped us set all that up. And then and the Indigo was there, and he was helping us get all that all connected and everything. And he was a great catalyst for me to get going up in the digital world. But Rich, one thing I did realize was that it was great having the press, but what kind of substrate am I going to run? What kind of software do I need to run? How does it all connect? In the very beginning, there was a little bit of issue because the inks were soft inks, and it was a little bit of scratching, on the print piece and things. And so I got to seeing all that, and then that's when HP asked me to be on a digital council group because I was the first printer in Texas to put in a Indigo.
Wow.
Okay. So I was on the council group, and I could see all of us talking. There was, I think it was, I don't know, dozens. It's good guys. And some of the guys are still in the industry. I talk to them weekly, And finally, Francis McMahon, I'm sure you probably know Francis, good guy, boy, I'm telling you, he's a good boy. And I went to him, I said, "Francis," and Jack Compton did too. We both went to him, "Francis, you got to get a user group. Nobody knows what the hell they're doing, we're trying to figure it all out, and we got to meet other suppliers, for the press." So, because right then there was a user group called Haste. Don't know if you remember that.
Nope.
Well, that was really the first user. And I went to one of the meetings in Las Vegas, and when Francis got up on stage there at and finally telling you not treating them, in opinion, professionally. Right then, that's what I told Francis. This ain't gonna fly. I said, "You need to start your own user group. We need to get together." So there was born Dscoop. That's how it started. There was 8 of us, I believe. We lived in New Jersey, I think it was, Atlantic City, and we all sit around a little room, probably 10 by 12 feet, I guess, they're at one of the hotels. And boy, how are we going to do this? How are we going to start it? What's the name of it going to be? How are we going to start the board? How are we going to pay for it? Because everybody's looking at Francis. And so, golly, we started that. and it was just wonderful when we got started. And we had our first um, conference in Sanibel Island. I think we had 175 people there. And golly, I mean, just some of the vendors that we had there that stepped up to help sponsor us so we could generate revenue. Mindfire was one of the first ones, and you're familiar with mine, GPA, papers. They came up, they were there, and some of the other. Then we had a few sessions, that we started off, and I remember we could afford much. I'll never forget, we had lunch one day, we had hamburgers and hot dogs, had mac and cheese and other things, just to feed everybody, and we had a little party that night, just meet and greet type deal. And then the conferences started. And then from there, we went to Tampa. And then from there, we went to, I think we went to Nashville, No, Orlando. And then we went to Nashville, and then back to Orlando. We went to Orlando a couple times in a row, went to Dallas, and so we were going to all the Gaylord because they were large. And as we were growing, we needed room for everybody. And then all of a sudden, we were having 2,000-3,000 people, that were coming to it. And then they asked me to go and help start a global Dscoop. Beans across the border, United States, but I said, sure, I'll give it a whirl. So they flew me to Singapore. I don't know if you've ever been to Singapore.
Yep.
They love it. People wonderful. It's just an amazing place. So that's when I gathered my team for the global. Do you know Yuki Okamoto?
I don't, no.
Oh my God, you got to meet that man. He is a true gentleman, and he's from Tokyo. I think he was just here in the United States. Matter of fact, I talked to him on my podcast on the 24th this week. But he is such a good man, and he was one of the ones that stepped up to help me. And Leon from South Korea, he stepped up. David Manette from Australia, and things just started growing from there. And how are we going to start it? So then we started gathering people like John Bailey. I love that boy. He's a good man too. And then just started getting more and more, just getting more active in it, and seeing the benefits of what all takes place by having a community like that. So after it got up and running, well, then I pulled back. I mean, it was nice going to all those places all throughout the world. It's wonderful traveling when somebody else is popped up. I can tell you that right now. And I was able to take my lovely wife with me.
Ah, perfect.
So she was able to go. We went to Barcelona, we went to Israel, all through South Korea, Singapore, China, and that was interesting. A little gathering over there. I spoke to the group. There were about 3,000 people there that I spoke with. Well, I always said, China print. And Dscoop was able to have a portion of China print so we could talk, to the group. Well, boy, there was, I call them, I don't mean this disrespectful, but I call them all the E's. Chinese, Vietnamese, Taiwanese, Indonesian, them all there. And when I was talking, they had me come up on stage. Before that, even, they had me come talk to the translators. and they were telling me how to talk, and I said, well, I don't know what steps is for. You have a hell of a time trying to figure out how I'm going to talk. So, it was there, and here I was up on stage in China and Beijing there, and I think there was about at 3,000 people there.
Wow.
And the people are just very polite, very
respectful.
Respectful, So I got up on stage and I talked to them there a little bit and everything. And as well as when you're talking to somebody, or a group, you feed off that audience, kind of see where they're at and where you need to shift gears a little bit. That I have found, So I talked about 30 minutes, I guess, on different things, on the advantages of Dscoop and what all we bring. So, and when it was over with, they were very gracious, and they all clapped and everything. And I went and I asked them if there was any questions. There wasn't any questions. So I went. Right after that, I had another session. I was keynote there, and then I had a session. I had videoed my shop so they could see it, if they had questions. So I got in there. There was room for, I would say, about 400 people in that room. It was crap. Standing room on, people down the aisle. And I thought, well, maybe they did pay attention to what I had to say there. So I ran the video, and talked to them a little bit. And here again, I asked, I said, do you have any questions? That they're very polite, and they clapped and everything. And so I was walking off stage, up the aisle, and back up out the room right
there. Yeah.
Boy, they were with interpreter in tow. Okay. So they were asking me all good questions, and I figured that out, that they did not want to give away their secrets or look like they were didn't know what they were talking about, or they were embarrassed, or whatever, and I appreciate that and respect that. So I bet I was out there with, oh my God, a good 2 hours.
Wow.
Talking to them, I enjoyed it, to be able to talk to them and tell them kind of what all I do. But that was a lot of fun. Sorry to get off track right there, but I just, the memories of people talking to you are different.
Honestly, Larry, I think it's one of the first times in my time as a podcaster, as an interviewer, as anything. It's just lovely to sit and listen, because for 2 reasons. One, I really like what you're saying, and 2, I really like the way you're saying it. So it's just, you have one of those voices, sir, that is a pleasure to listen to. So yeah, don't.
You're so kind. I appreciate it.
Well, if we go back right to the beginning of that bit there, Larry, I guess in the early days when Indigo first came out, it's a little bit like, somebody's invented a new plane, and they deliver these planes to people, but they don't tell you how to fly it, and there's a load of buttons, and there you go, here's your plane, bye bye. And I'm sure it's better than that, but in principle, you were right there at the cutting edge, the bleeding edge, as they call it, of digital technology, weren't you?
Oh, right there, and and the press in itself was, I think it was $400,000. My wife thought I was nuts, and other people thought I was nuts too. Spending almost $500,000, don't know what I'm doing. Trying to figure out how to run it, what to do, and everything else. And it would break down. Anything breaks down. I don't care what it is. I mean, maintenance is the main thing. You got to keep up on it. But just when we were able to, and I'm not going to say me, I mean, we as a collaborative group were able to get people together to start sharing ideas, and don't be clam up. Don't be afraid to say anything. Because I would go to some events, not many, but some events. Boy, I'm telling you, nobody shared any kind of information. Boy, they just, mom, that's it, man. But when Dscoop was put together and we were able to speak openly and freely and each other training each other, I'll never forget, I had 11 guys and around me, and I was feeding them all lunch. It was at a Dscoop event, and I was talking to them. I said, well, what we do at Dscoop, and I would like for everybody to share a best case scenario or a worst case scenario, either one. So we all can learn, from each other. I'll never forget Bob Shear, who was sitting right next to me, because he was on the council group in the very beginning with me. And he says, Larry, I don't know if I feel good about sharing some ideas that have made me successful. I said, Bob, you listen. Okay, you're going to share one idea. You're going to get 10 ideas back. To me, that is a hell of a trade, to be able to do that. Well, of course, he started singing like a canary after that. He started talking. Yeah.
And that's the thing, Larry, about this group. And I was fortunate enough to be in Slovenia a couple of weeks ago for the latest Dscoop European event. And that willingness to invest in ideas is what because you call it a user group, and it absolutely is. And if you had to define it, that's what you would call it. But it's so much more than that, because of that willingness to invest in not just what you're doing, but what other people are doing, in the hope that it will benefit you. There's an old expression about all boats rise on a rising tide. And I think Dscoop as a user group in the industry has taken that principle and run with it. And I've only been doing what I've been doing in the industry for about 12 years. And I was an Indigo, that's what brought me in was using Indigo for the Share a Coke campaign. But what I've seen and heard and read since then leads me to believe that it wasn't the Indigo that was the unique part of that campaign. It was Dscoop that was the unique part of that campaign. Is that fair to say?
Very fair to say, because I can tell you, with the same group of guys, if we would have taken something else, a different kind of press, because I'm going to have an example I'm going to tell you about in a minute. Well, we are the ones that made that engine run by being able to gather ourselves, talk openly, speak very freely, and became great friends. I mean, I've talked to these guys all the time, and to this day, I don't have to text, I don't have to email. I can pick up the phone. John Bailey over in the UK, Sheffield, I think that's where he's from.
Yeah.
And I pick up the phone. He'll pick that phone up like that.
Yeah.
I talk to him and say, hey, hey, let me tell you what I got, John. He said, okay, yeah. Let's see if I can put something together and I get with you. But I became, from this group, I became a global printer. I could get anything printed in any part of the world.
Yeah.
I don't know. Have you ever been to Houston?
Yeah.
Okay, good. There's all kinds of global companies here in Houston. Now, most of them are oil and gas, but we're getting more and more of different types of industries that are global countries. These people, they need stuff printed over in Taiwan. They need stuff over in the UK. They need stuff over in Spain. And And even the freight company that I deal with now, I mean, they've got locations throughout the world, and being able to know people in certain regions, say, hey, this is what I got to have, and I know it's going to be right, and I know it's going to be good because
Well, that's the key point, isn't it? Because I think when in order to make somebody a promise, you have to know that somebody's going to keep it.
Yes.
And it's a really difficult one to do, which is why so many businesses don't make that promise, because they're fearful that it can't be kept, and then that reflects badly on them. And I have the same sort of situation, Larry, in a business that I'm involved in that does children's books, personalized children's books, and we print those around the world on the Dscoop network, because I know that whoever's doing it is doing as good a job as the person that's doing it over here, or doing it over here, or doing it over here, and that confidence, I think, not only for you as a business, but also to be able to portray and make that promise to your clients, is worth its weight in gold.
Oh, hands down. I mean, because they will step forward and almost handle it all the way through the shop, And these companies that I deal with, I mean, they multi-billion-dollar companies, And I think back, and when it first just dawned on me that, my God, I can be a global brand. There was an oil and gas company here in Houston. Now, this was about 15, 16 years ago. And they called me and they needed these benefit packet out to the employees by a goofy date, okay? Because they had farted around on it and they were just couldn't get it done. And they called me. Can you get these printed and shipped? Freight alone was like $78,000 just for freight. I said, okay, let me look. Then I had this lovely young lady that worked for me. She worked for me for years, little bitty thing. Before I just met her to connect before she was good. And told her what we had. I need you to call Fred Poonwalla over in India, because they got some in India. I need you to get a hold of this person, this person, this person. And you know Irwin? Irwin from over in Amsterdam?
No.
Oh, I'm trying to think of his last name. I can't believe it. Well, think of it right now. Good guy. Boy, he get that handled and get it done, And he, being over that area, well, he was able to know how to get it shipped to the proper, because you have a VAT tax you got to deal with.
Yeah.
So freight went down to $3,000.
Okay, that's significant.
I should have charged $60,000. And they still say $3,000. They thrill, but I don't operate that way. They were so thrilled that I was able to get all that to them by that day, because I think you're fine if you don't have that reporting to those employees, by that time. And right then, I said, I'm a global, and I started touting, I can get this. Hey, I can handle that for you over in the UK. Yeah, I can handle that for you over in Australia. Yeah, I can do that. Yeah. And boy, people were amazed that I was able to do that, because all I had to do was pick the phone of the guys. But I was very involved in Dscoop for 11 years. I think it was 11 years. I, handled two positions. Then it was time for me to step down. As the new people, and oh man, 75 years old, and there's young blood are coming out that they understand things are better than you. They probably don't invest in BS have, but they've got a lot of theory. And when I did that, well, then Dscoop had another explosion.
Sure.
And it was key making John Bailey a global. He was president of the global board.
Yeah.
Because he was over in that regions, he knew. And I hadn't been to a Dscoop in a while, and they kept telling me to come. Well, it was the 20th anniversary in LA.
Yeah. Long Beach.
So did you make that?
No, I couldn't, unfortunately, but I've heard some stories.
Yeah. And so then I got to talk to the group, and of course, I was known as the old coach, on the board. I got to talk to all those people, and they were just so nice to me and respectful and everything. But I couldn't stay for the whole Dscoop because I had a great grandson being born that next morning. I wasn't going to miss that. It wasn't going to happen. And so I got there. I got back because I caught a red eye, and I got there like 30 minutes after he was born. So that was exciting, for that.
Yeah.
And so then I was able to go to the one in Colorado. The one we had. Were you there?
No, couldn't make that one either. So I'm doing a lot less traveling these days, Larry, across the Atlantic, and I'm sort of doing a lot of this, obviously, online because it makes it work. But I tend to stick to the European events. Anybody that tells you that traveling is glamorous hasn't done enough of it. And these days it's really quite hard and expensive. So I'm doing a bit more of this sort of stuff.
Yeah, that goes back to what I said before. It's great traveling with somebody else talk about. Well, I'm telling you.
Yeah.
Because traveling is very expensive. Well, and not only is it expensive, but it's kind of a hassle. I mean,
yeah, it is. Oh yeah, yeah. It doesn't matter where you are in the world. You just stood in a line, aren't you?
Yeah, it doesn't matter. But I enjoyed going to that one because I got to spend the whole time there, and I was able to set up my little podcast table right there. And boy, I just grabbed people left and right and pull them over. And some of them, I tried to get them over there, and they ran off. They didn't want to talk to me. I don't want to be talking to. So it was great, But I've got this young lady that works with Aubrey. You've met Aubrey through email.
She's a very good emailer, yeah.
Oh, she's such a lovely person, boy. She really is. A little young thing, I think 24 years old. And she just got that, and which I need. And I told her this is what I need. And a gentleman kind of helped me out. And, he did the best he can. He did better than me. But he said, I got the person you need to talk to. And so he introduced me to my guy. I'm telling you, I said, Aubrey, where have you been? So she was able to come with me to Dscoop. And she handled all the mics and did everything for me. And posted everything. And all I did was just stand there and BS with everybody, which made it nice. And I hope I get to go this next year. I think it's in the Carolina.
Yes, I think you're right. Yes, next spring, I think. So that's the plan. And hopefully, you never know, I might come over for that one now. Because if you're short of a podcast guest, I'm more than happy to sit down and talk to you any day of any week.
Well, I hope I get to go. I'll let you know. The Carolinas are beautiful.
Yeah. Yeah,
But
yeah, I've
women
played
look
golf there
good.
before, so I'm looking forward to it. Listen, Larry, we've run out of time today, unfortunately, because I could genuinely just sit and listen to you all day, and it's been an absolute pleasure and a treat for me to be able to listen to you for the last 30 minutes or so. Thank you for joining me on Print Island, and thank you also for everything that you've done, for everything that we just talked about, because they're only where they are because of people like you. So thank you for that,
Oh,
and
you're
I'm
so
very
kind.
look forward to seeing you somewhere in person somewhere soon. Thank you very much indeed, Larry Vaughn.
Oh, thank you very much, and I appreciate it so much, and appreciate it so much. And please, I've got more stories. So if you want phase two, you let me know.
Oh, I think this is a box set. Never mind another episode. So yeah, I'll get Netflix on the phone. Don't you worry,
Oh, good
Larry.
deal. Okay.
Lovely to see you.
Good to see you. Good day.
Take care.